So now it has been 1.5 years since we launched the project. So we would like to present some lesson learned so far. And to recap that, I would like to provide some brief about the Japan-Caribbean Climate Change Partnership. It's a regional initiatives, and then to support the 8 Caribbean countries. The project is around $15 million equivalent, funded by the government of Japan. We are trying to support all those 8 countries to address the climate change adaptation and mitigations.
I think one of the biggest takeaways for me was the need to go into country earlier than we originally did. Before, we took a very academic approach to project development and were reviewing the project proposals just on paper. But once we did the first site visit and we were able to get into country and have a better appreciation for the context, for the challenges, get to meet the proponents, get to look through the sites, we were better able to see where we could support and provide technical advice where it was needed and help the proponents to really get what they needed to get out of the pilot proposals that they were putting forward. I don't know what your thoughts are, Neisha.
Yes, definitely, because even when we went in country, I think that really helped us to build relationships with stakeholders and our national counterparts on the ground, and it benefited the project on a whole, even up to today. That when we went in country and we're meeting with the stakeholders, it helped us to build those relationships, and that was quite beneficial. It catalyzed everything else we needed. And when we were relaying information to stakeholders, as well as when we needed feedback from them, it really was beneficial.
I completely agree. I feel that communication that we had really built the relationship between us and the proponents. And in the Caribbean, we're very personable people. Personal interaction is very key to a lot of things. So being able to foster those relationships really helped us to communicate on an informal level, which pushed forward things through the formal processes that were needed for approval and for project development.
Yeah, it was very beneficial for the project, and this is one of the lessons learned.
Yeah.
One of the lessons learned has been the importance of establishing formal M&E processes and reporting tools at the onset. This ensures that evidence-based baseline information is collected and thus would ensure that project activities are aligned to the results framework, and results of those activities can be measured against the baseline information collected.
The number of pilot projects was the biggest surprise for us. We did not anticipate the number of proposals that we received. We knew we would receive quite a few, but the volume of initiatives that we would have received documents for was beyond what we could have anticipated. And it allowed us to think creatively to see how best we could provide support where it was needed, to be flexible in a lot of our processes, to make adjustments to our timelines based on what we would have thought would have been the case at the beginning, and just kind of push us outside of the box a little bit, which was an interesting process for us.
Since the inception of our project, we've come in with our own plans, our processes, our procedures, and one of the lessons learned is flexibility. Essentially, you have to be flexible with understanding what's going on in a country, as well as other activities that national stakeholders have to deal with. And definitely flexibility is one of the lessons learned, and it's key to ensure that you still meet your objectives and goals, but keeping in mind the activities going on in country.
We had come into this process anticipating that we would have gotten quite a bit of projects to do with renewable energy, and that's particularly because we were coming off of the Paris Agreement and talking about mitigation actions, and we thought that a lot of the assistance that would be required would be in that particular area. Surprisingly, most of the requests were for pilot projects in the sustainable agricultural focal area, and I don't think we quite anticipated the need within that area and the amount of interest that would be generated to put adaptation measures in place for farmers throughout the region.
After we had an inception workshop, we started to have another consultations in all 8 countries, which took 6 months to do that. And in dealing with those 8 countries, both mitigation and then adaptation, that takes time. So only for the consultation, it took 6 months. So that's what we learned, and we learned that we have to secure more time for this consultation in order to provide the right support based on the country's need.